but if you've got food here...
Yeah, no, go for that, yeah,
Thank
help
you.
yourself.
Is it on port?
Now it's recording.
Yeah.
I can't, it's all pretty foggy though.
Yeah, well, never mind. At least we'll get the general idea so Sheryl can show it to her nieces and nephews when they get older.
Yeah. Well, she won't be able to see anything.
Hey, the nieces and nephews, the niece especially, thinks that it's pretty good she can go to Grandma's place and there's a book with Sheryl in as well.
No.
Well, hey, Tony. Yeah, but it's always where's Jim?
Where's Jim?
Where's Jim?
I can't see that thing either. I'm glad someone else can.
If you hold it about 3 or 4 inches from your eye, then you can see.
You're still recording, aren't you?
Yeah, but if I hold it away from your eye rather than sticking your eye right up to the eyepiece.
Here's Sheryl and Tim and I, and we're at the Putaruru pub, just having our little party after a long, hard campaign. And all the people here have helped with the campaign and been scrutineers. Kirsty, say kia ora. Kirsty and Lisa and Abe. Joan, got your name right, have I? I have. Here we are. Here's some troops, here's some local Putaruru people. All right, Tokoroa, don't keep running in. Here's our food. It's been put on. Sheryl's mum. Now that's a lovely shot of Sheryl's mum, and she's come all the way from Taranaki to support her daughter. That's lovely. Yeah, that's the one. Here's Tamet and Pam. It's all right, I'm just kidding. And here's Rose. Oops. Oh, it's much.
Go a lot faster than that.
And here's Jenny. Cheryl's blood blister.
And standard.
And standard, yeah. And there's Ellie and Phil. So there we all are. And there's Wiramote. Hi, man.
Just a window for the lion's blow all these ones away.
There's Sheryl.
Mum's read a book called The
Candidate.
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah, she said it's very good. Now, after tomorrow tonight, I'll have enough time to read some novels. I'm going to the library regularly. I'm not going to read a policy book in some weeks.
That are not staying the night, but probably on the way. Young ones particularly, so I thought, well, we better do something formal for tonight, being the end of the campaign for us and the Alliance team and the Taupo electorate. And so as campaign chairperson, I would first off like to thank everybody that participated in one form or another today, particularly with the scrutineers. I want to say in terms of my experience of being on the road for the last 2 weeks full time and doing what we can before that for the last 6 weeks or so, that it's been an enjoyable 6 weeks. It hasn't, whilst it's had moments of hard work, we've decided right from the beginning that we would try and have a good time on the road, and I think we essentially achieved that. It's been really good meeting NLP and Alliance members around the electorate. Coming into the electorate from outside was always difficult, but agreeing to put some weight behind it, we did, and it was really gratifying to run into the sort of people that we have during our 6 weeks on the road, that even in small communities of New Zealand there is still some nutty left-wingers, which is really thankful, I think, for this country overall. And it's good, again, running into old friends as well. Tom down the end, and the new one's at Japan next to him. And I want to thank a few people, besides the people that are here. I've got some people in particular I would like to pay some tribute to. One isn't here tonight, I wish he was, and that's Bob Peck from Ratahi. Bob's a retired church person, or still active in some ways obviously, but Deputy Mayor of the Ratahi District Council. He says that he had a dream all his life, I think, to be a minister in a Marxist church. Never quite had an appropriate church for him. He was still waiting for a call from Castro. But he's been a real stalwart in terms of that organisational area. And Siegfried over here. Again, has pitched in over the last few weeks really well on our behalf. And we certainly enjoyed the stories Siegfried and Bob had to tell, and enjoyed the tour of Siegfried's organic garden the other day, which was really good. And Brian, I want to pay some tribute to too. One of the best meat pies that I've tasted on a wet, a very downpouring Ratahi day while we're trying to put a hoarding above his house come shop front abode, and got this wonderful culinary delight of roast artichokes and beef pie, which went down a treat considering the soaked condition we're in on the day. From Mangakino, we've had Colin Bell. He's not with us either tonight, but and I haven't actually yet to meet him, but as campaign manager I want to acknowledge the particular work that he's done. Joan and Putaruru, with the sort of support from one end of the town to the other. I've had a few people that I know in Putaruru actually come up to me and straight away said they understood quite well who our organising of the Putaruru area was, and where she stood and where they should stand, and there was no mention of words about it. So I appreciate and we had a gentleman from Tamaranui who hasn't Steve is not here either. And one thing that although we've probably got the least members within any political party just about within the electorate, they've fortunately been scattered around quite handily, which was really good. The other people I've really got thanks, Paul Blair and Yvonne, and I want to mention them at the same time because they've both been full time with Sheryl campaigning right through, doing all those great jobs like stapling manifestos with the candidate's card, and Yvonne's in charge of the finances. No one's sort of let her near them yet, but she's got responsibility at the end of this to write the report to the registrar. Apparently we weren't allowed to spend any more than $5,000. It would have been a wonderful problem to have at the time.
In retrospect.
Now, before I pass it on to Sheryl, and after that, I'd actually like to invite people to come and make Yvonne's done something for us, and anybody else after that would like to make to say something on this occasion. I'd like to say on a serious note though that on behalf of the Alliance, listening to Jim Anderton on a phone conference call last night, they're really good calls. You get about 50 people on the calls, and you all listen to Jim for about half an hour, and that's the conference call. But notwithstanding that, it was a reasonably inspiring speech. And without sort of going into a Castro-like speech that he tends to do these days, I'll give you the real briefs about it. But the Alliance in itself, the NLP being the first member in terms of the Alliance, is only 7 years old, which is a very young party indeed, and to have established 2 seats in its own right, and about to establish somewhere between 18 and 25, which is my broad prediction, is really a remarkable feat in anyone's eyes. And the Alliance prior to this election did have a real strategy to say that we're targeting an ambition to be government with our policies being implemented in 1999, which is still 3 years away. There has been some difficulties and probably some soul searching from many Alliance people, as I think there will be over the next 6 months, as the question of whether we should do a formal coalition with Labour or not keeps raising itself. But the reality on that by the economists, etc., with the Alliance is that Labour, whilst looking to deliver some of the same things to people that the Alliance is, in terms of the income delivery to the government in order to pay for that, it just isn't going to line up, and that's what our economists are saying to us. So the dangers of doing the full coalition with Labor is that unless you can win the economic policy, unless we can put our economic policy in place, it's a dead duck, and it means that some of the promises given aren't going to be delivered over the next 3 years. So if we were to do a formal coalition on that basis, not only would we be walking away from those principal points that the Alliance stood for, but we'd also potentially go down the screaming heap in 3 years' time, which we believe is going to be the outcome for any government formed, and can't balance the book and deliver on its promises this time, more so than in the past. So it's obviously our hope to do as well as we can tonight, and it's also our intention fully to, as I understand it, to work with Labor and with New Zealand First, if that's who they form government with, from the outside, but to support any policy at all that goes through, any change of law that's going to assist the people in this country, particularly the ones that have been hurt very badly over the last 12 years. So, in saying that, I want to focus on the Taupo electorate, and it is still a small electorate in numbers. The job for us, one part of the job is over, and the other part now starts to begin, and I think it's opportune for me to say that, particularly as there is some people amongst Springs family and Alliance people that are actually from that electorate, and we really need to have a view to start building a bigger base within the electorate itself. You probably can have a couple of weeks off before we start, but we have some serious fundraising to do. We have some recruitment to do, and we need to start organising ourselves so that we're in a lot better position in 3 years than what we have been on this occasion, and we really need to do that. So that's my appeal from that. The last person I want to thank and pay a lot of tribute to is to Sheryl. I remember distinctly some 4 months ago, more roughly, when we were in Auckland and staying at a seafarer friend of ours' place, and Jerry and Shelley's, and Matt McCartney was a boarder there full time, and whilst across the dinner table, the pressure went on Sheryl to look to stand for the Alliance for the Taupo electorate, and she didn't say yes to that straight away. She had to deliberate on it for a week or two and finally made the commitment. And I understand you have a difficulty looking to stand in the first place when you're outside the electorate, even if it is by the narrow margin that we are in terms of living at Mamatu. But the Alliance wanted Sheryl because of her past experiences, because of her ability to do the job, and some pressure was applied, and I too was really delighted that she made a decision to stand, and I think that she's done a really magnificent job considering the resources that we've had within this electorate, the distance geographically of the electorate itself. So I certainly thank all those other people that contributed towards this campaign, but I particularly want to thank Sheryl. It is a provincial election electorate, that it was an interesting one, and the outcome tonight will be interesting with a known MP and Mark Burden from this end of the electorate, with Macleay retiring and a less than popular national person being determined to be their candidate, because if you do an analysis and you take all the polling booths that make up the new electorate and you put them into the electorate as it stands now, national, I think predictably would have won 3 years ago by 700 votes. And it's going to be a lot closer than that. So we think we've got a chance. Our target in reality is to come a credible third and to try and get the Alliance list vote as high as the country's average. If we can achieve those two things tonight, we'll have done well. If we achieve less than that, I think we've still done well, because there's not much else we could have done with the people that we had, the commitment we had, time, resources and money. So it's not the end of the world. Paul Blair is going to, who has been somewhat tactician, and we've had some interesting nights revealed to determining tactics, is going to have to do a report at the end of this as well, and people have views that have participated, we like them actually in writing, because we intend to put a folder together so any new coming electorate team in the future can pick up on that experience straight away, including the difficulties we've had with councils. I'll give you one example in this very town, where Paul went through the process of looking at the law, understanding the council's rules, which was that we were allowed to put up 10 hoardings between here and Tokoroa in the local parks. we checked with the council staff, got the exact locations and put them up. And one was just down the road here that went up, a double one of Jim Anderson at Plunkett's rooms, and there happens to be a National Party person in one of the houses across the road from it, who looked out of her window in the morning and was horrified because the Alliance had suddenly put this huge hoarding out in their front yard, as she so called it. So given that she was a member of the council, she talked to the council, and they had an emergency council meeting to change the rules that you could now no longer put hoardings in parks that were named after somebody. So there is a need to show any incoming team that it's not all smooth sailing, that the right wing is actually living and breathing out there, and will do all sorts of things to try and frustrate you. So I just give my compliments and thanks to Sheryl for the work that she's particularly done over the last 8 weeks or so for the Alliance and for the Taupo area. Sheryl.
Well, I'm just going to tell you something about that. And I said to Tom, I was going to say those things. I shouldn't have told Jim what I was going to say when we were talking about speeches before.
That's politics.
Well, so I'm not going to speak for a whole heap of time. I just want to thank everyone. And I actually might need my beer, Jim, because I want to have a toast at the end of my speech.
Important.
Yeah. But I do want to thank everyone who's helped so much throughout the campaign. I think it's just been really choice. You know, I look around and everyone here has contributed somewhat during the campaign. And you just can't run a campaign without it. It's been a great campaign. It's been a really good experience for me, a learning experience. I've learned after 20 years in jeans how to wear a skirt again. Here's my mum, I meant. But it has been good, and I think that what I've found going around door knocking, talking to people, is that there's a lot of poverty out there, that people are really hurting. We have just heard horror story after horror story of how people aren't coping under this regime that they're under at the moment. People who've never broken the law in their life, who because they're on a benefit, have to go out and get under the table work because if they declare it, they lose their accommodation supplement. These are people who are 50 and 60, worked all their lives, got crook and can't work anymore. So I think it's really important to not just focus on our local Tokoroa campaign, but focus on a whole alliance campaign. Because the reason why there is an alliance and what we're fighting for is to make things better for those people. And I think that we never should lose sight of that. And I think that the fight doesn't stop tonight, no matter how well we do or not do. That's irrelevant because we've fought really hard and we've fought for the right reasons. And as Bill Anderson always says, there's no shame in fighting for what you believe in and losing. The shame is in not fighting at all. And I think that's quite apt. All I'd like to do now, I guess, is have a toast to absent friends. And I guess in doing that, I want to thank my family. It's a choice to have my mum and Denise up here. And unfortunately, my other sister's missing, but she sent me a big bunch of flowers, so we'll forgive her. But I want to have a toast to absent friends, and I'll just go through some of my family first, because I know a lot of them would like to be here. So first of all, a toast to Mum, to my dad, to Frank, to Grandma, to Garden Steve. Don't cry to me. Don't make me. But and to the people like Bob Peck, to Billy and Doug, who aren't here yet, but who will be here soon, I'm sure, and Colin Bell, and a whole bunch of people who are out there working today. Neil Chapman done a day's work, hey, just not just for me, but for the Alliance as a whole. So I'm going to finish up on that, and I'd ask you to charge your glasses.
Kia ora, Sheryl.
Well, before I ask Yvonne to give us a poem that she's been working on for some time about this campaign, there's two particular people that, one person and one object that I haven't thanked that I'm going to now, and the person is Phil White, who gave us great assistance with the hoardings, good other contributions, and Ellie for today as well. and also supplied us with the other object, I have to thank, because that gave us a focus, a very unusual focus, I thought, for our lecture, and that was, he hasn't got a name for it yet that I know of. Have you?
Yeah, snail.
Snail. Snail is our 16-ton old comma, which we managed to fit 2 hoardings down the sides and a whole lot of signs up on top of, and Phil fitted us some speakers, so we annoyed every little community with a large one within the electorate with the speakers going. And it did, without that, and with the limited resources we had, we would have never got anywhere near the focus that otherwise we could have. So I in passing it over, Yvonne, want to pay some special tribute and thanks to you, Phil and Ellie, for the support you've given.
Thank you.
Yvonne.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're back in here. Nice thing about you, I'll have to say them again later. Oh, no, don't worry.
This is MMP 96. A small team we may be, yet we covered the lot from Putaruru to Ohakuni. We walked, talked and met people who gave us their bed, who spurred us on just between you and me. And of their time they gave a lot and helped us out of many a tight spot. Supermarket car parks first thing on a Saturday, with only a couple of nasty little gnats saying, go away. The conference dinners were definitely winners, and as fundraisers they were a hoot. Odette would arrive with Willie in his ute and unload even more food from her car boot. There was Joan from Tokoroa, who we all know is a bit of a yahoo, yet there she was, working day and night to make sure we got all corners covered just right. Merv, her man, with a face deadpan, just raises his brows and quietly says, what now? From Mangakino we met Colin and his mum, Mrs. Bell, who traversed this town, and from the dogs I got Mary Hill. The Ohakuni Carrot Festival was an event to remember. A gale-force stormy day in the month of September. Hoardings went up, while some drank a cup of Ohakuni's finest coffee. Siegfried sold his gooseberries. Bob had a megaphone and a bag of toffee. Off to Tokoroa to meet Billy and Doug. With the offspring Kate and Phil, they've all got the bug. Park the truck on the lawn, says Billy with glee. The bigger the better for all to see. Deep in the heartland, with our truck and loudhailer, the message was carried. Up State Highway 1, we've nailed her. Her, of course, is Sheryl, our leading lady, who spoke out at meetings was near a maybe. Who was there with a grin when moods ran thin, and who showed us all what can be. Jim, campaign manager, was the one with the mic, who spread the message to young and old. High in Phil's truck, his wit in full force, indeed, what a sight to behold. Paul was there too, to keep us out of the po when the council said no to our hoardings. Our strategist he was, all for the cause, and kept watch out for any maraudings. Many the mile we've travelled, and many the friend we've gathered. The end of the day, come what may, we were there, you and me, for the very first vote under MMP.
Good, Yvonne.
They've held the Alliance flag up real high on behalf of us all. Many of us have had other things to do, or may not have been quite so brave to get out or whatever. There has been a small team that's certainly established the name up and down, and I drive around the country quite a bit. I can certainly say the Taupo electorate certainly was well publicised with the Alliance knowledge. And I think we do have to thank Sheryl, and hopefully that she gets us all a trip to Bellamy's. That's the trip to Wellington. And Jim for his dedication, and Paul and Yvonne. I think about them, and the ones I haven't met, I think I've met some in the last few days pulling some of the haulings down, that there has been a great crew out here in Taupo, and that should continue on for the future. I think you all...
Kia ora, Phil.
Tarangi maunga tu te pō, tu te ao. Tarangi tamata, ka neke, o te atu, tihei mauri ora. Mea tuatai ke mihi ki te tātu ari ki nui a hiu kaiti, nānanga tīmatanga ki te mutuma. Mihi tana ki wa tātu tine ai tua, e takata maina ringa warātu marae maha, a koutu haere atu. Ka huri tū, tēnā koe te rangatira e Sheryl. Ka koe rā te rangatira, nau te rānei, nau te pō. Nā reire mihi tēnei ki a koe, tēnā koe. A waka nunui a te motu, me ngara ngā tira. A mea te kia koutou whānui, tēnā koutou. I'll just switch over to TV1 so you guys can understand. I acknowledge what the Rangatira Jim has said about his partner Sheryl. He knocked the head right on, he hit the nail right on the head there. That's a small woman to me, in my eyes there. She's got plenty of money. That's the Māori way of looking at things. When I first met her, she was an organiser up in Auckland. And her members was all Māori members of half and half. But I think my people treated her better than the other half, put it that way. For what she have done for them throughout Auckland up to Waiwera, and they're all truckies. And also opened my eye up to see her mother here, doing the same thing as what my parents used to do, prepare the food for the visitors that come here tonight. That was a choice thing that you done tonight. Kia ora koe. So I was back on my marae.